Hi friends! Today we are going to make natural yeast shokupan. Last week we made a natural yeast from raisin, and this week we are going to bake a shokupan with it. It's going to take about 3 days to complete the process, but you will have the best shokupan. First, we are making the pre-ferment. Take out the natural yeast from the fridge and mix with the whole wheat flour. Leave it on the countertop until it doubles in volume. It took me 8 hours at 28 degrees Celsius. The second step is mixing with the bread flour. Add 30 grams of bread flour and 30 grams of natural yeast in the container and mix to combine. Leave it on the countertop until it becomes double in volume. It's going to take us shorter than the first rise, but in my case, it took me 5 hours to become double in volume. Alright, it looks good. Let it sit in the fridge overnight to stabilize. It's quite a vibrant natural yeast pre-ferment or pre-fermented dough. You can feed them and use them continuously. Transfer your pre-fermented dough into a medium-sized bowl and mix with the water. You will take out the pre-ferment into a small bowl. Pour the water in the container we used for the pre-ferment to use all the natural yeast from the container. Secure the lid and shake to dissolve all the natural yeast goodness from the container. Add the water to the pre-ferment and mix well. Now let's knead the dough. Let's put the bread flour and sugar and the salt in the stand mixer bowl. Mix on low speed until it becomes even. Pour the pre-ferment mixture in a slow and steady stream. Start kneading on low, mix until it forms a dough, then turn the speed to medium and knead for 5 to 6 minutes. Now let's give it a window pane test to see the gluten has developed or not. Take the small amount of the dough and stretch the dough with your fingers. Any stretches like paper thin and almost see through the other side, it's okay. Add room temperature unsalted butter and knead another 2 to 3 minutes. And after that, give it a window pane test again. After adding the butter, the dough becomes more elastic and shiny and very smooth. It looks good, so let it shape into a ball and cover with a plastic wrap and let it rise until it becomes double in volume for 3 to 4 hours. After the first rise, give it a punch. Punch is not really a punch, but it deflates the dough and to provide the fresh oxygen to activate the yeast. Shape into a bowl and cover and let it rise for the second rise until it almost double in volume for about 2 hours. Alright, it looks good. The natural yeast, it's not easy to tell that the dough is ready or not. Sometimes they lose its power to rise if you leave it too long. So if you see the dough is almost double in volume, let's proceed to the next step. Divide into 2 and shape it into a ball and cover and let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes for the bench rest. The bench rest relaxes the gluten and make it easy to shape into a final shape. Shape the dough into a round with a tighter outside and put it in the greased mold. In the regular shokupan instructions, I always roll out the dough and fold in 3 and roll it up. But in this case, the natural yeast may not keep its power to expand in the oven, so we should hold the gas inside for the final rise. Cover the mold and let it rise for the final rise. We are going to bake this into a mountain shape, so let it rise until the dough rises 1 centimeter higher than the edges. It took me 5 hours to rise. It takes much longer than the commercial yeast dough because we rely on the natural yeast power to rise the dough. I can't tell you how long it takes to rise the dough double in volume, but you want to make sure take a close look at it. At almost 9 o'clock at night, it took me more than I expected. Pop in the oven, 100 degrees Celsius, as usual. We bake it in a cold start method. I have received so many questions about this method. Let me clarify the method again. Preheat oven to 100 degrees Celsius, put your mold into the oven, and reset the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. So your shokupan is cooked very slowly. My oven took about 10 minutes to rise to 200 degrees Celsius from 100 degrees Celsius. It depends on the oven how long does it take from 100 degrees Celsius to 200, but it doesn't matter. What matters are you should bake for 40 minutes from start to finish. And some people asked me the 40 minutes of baking time is too long, but it's not. Because the shokupan is the large volume bread, so if you wanna cook through, it's going to take 40 minutes. And if your oven is too small and your bread surface is turning brown so quickly, you should cover it with the aluminum foil or parchment paper to prevent the burning the outside. I always cover it after 15 minutes of baking. It smells so good, and let's take it out from the mold. The one with the sediment expands a lot more than no sediment natural yeast. It's not quite high in volume. You can see the difference. And the next day, slice it and toast it and topped with unsalted butter and taste it. I don't know why, but it has a melt in your mouth texture. It is happening maybe the long fermentation process compared to the commercial yeast procedure. The gluten in the bread dough breaks down into the smaller particles, so I guess it's good for your digestive system, and it has a comfortable aroma, and when you toast it, it's so crispy on the outside and the fluffy and moist on the inside. This is definitely a next level shokupan. I think some of you have tried the sourdough bread, and this is much easier than the sourdough bread. The best daily bread for sandwich and toast. Everyone loves it. It takes time, but totally worth it. I hope you will give this recipe a try. Thank you for watching the video. Give me a big thumbs up and share the video with your friends and families. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Follow me on the social media and tag me on your post if you give it a try. And go to my website for the printable recipe and more information. And my store on Amazon has pretty much everything that I'm using in my video. Stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you soon. Bye!